again, Gooners. Yes, it's a different format. You're not going to see my ugly mug quite so much in this episode, and perhaps a lot more to come. Can we call them episodes? Well, that's what I used to call Batman. I think they were in episodes. But that's going back a long way, guys. Let's not even think that far back in time, because obviously some of us were born yesterday, weren't we? Yes, we were. Right, enough silly gags, because they're not even funny. I'll tell you what I will do. I'll move on to the transfer news, loads of it. And what I'm doing now is putting visuals alongside it. So we'll see how that works. Probably won't work well, but let's not get too negative. I'm waltzing around all the websites, justarsenal.com being my first port of call. Their headline is, "Don't sign anyone, Arsenal, not yet, because Falcao is available." And the story goes on to mention Radamel Falcao and the fact that we could possibly sign him because, of course, Arsene Wenger's got good connections with Monaco. The Colombian international, obviously going to be in action in the World Cup, but he... well, not obviously, because he's been out with a cruciate ligament injury, so it's not necessarily going to happen for him in the World Cup. And it might not necessarily happen for him in France if he stays there, because really there's a change of management. Claudio Ranieri leaving, of course, and the billionaire owner of the French club Monaco has got some personal problems, financial as well, because he's had a divorce, and as a lot of married men will testify, if you get a divorce, it can be very costly. And the French club apparently are not that impressed with Falcao and his attitude, which makes you wonder why Arsene Wenger would be interested, because obviously he's going to listen to what Monaco have to say about current employees. But his goal ratio is excellent. He's only 28, only. Well, that's getting quite near 30, isn't it? But anyway, I don't personally see that happening. If there are any question marks about the player's attitude, I really can't see him joining Arsenal. So I don't see that one happening. But that was a very good try from justarsenal.com. Another website I've taken a look at is straighttalkinggooners.com. They're talking about the financial fair play arrangements. David Luiz joining PSG, it seems, for an awful lot of money. And they're speculating that Cavani will in fact join us, and speculating being the operative word there. Well, David Luiz on the brink of becoming the world's most expensive defender, £40 million being talked about as the amount, and PSG obviously being heavily linked with a lot of players despite being heavily sanctioned under the financial fair play regulations. So nonetheless, they're still busy in the transfer market. Just after being fined £60 million, they're ready to spend £40 million on David Luiz. And of course their Champions League squad, like Manchester City's, will be reduced from 25 to 21. And clearly Man City as well, another team that are expected to offload some players, but hoping to bring Bakary Sagna from Arsenal on a free transfer, so at least that's not a transfer outlay for them. But financial fair play usually concerns wages as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how or if financial fair play actually really kicks in and does any damage to these super rich clubs. Anyway, it seems that according to this story at least, Edinson Cavani, the Uruguayan international striker, could be on the move, perhaps because PSG need to free up some of the wages in terms of their wage bill. They need to drop it down a little bit to make sure that they comply a bit more with financial fair play than they have so far. I think again it's a bit of a long shot to think just because they're going to sign a defender they're going to offload a striker. Quite why even the article itself says quite why Cavani won't be moving to Chelsea as part of a swap deal is a bit of a moot point and a bit hard to understand. But anyway, it could be on the move, but I suspect it won't be to Arsenal. Players that have been, should I say, players that are on the move, I'll get there in the end. Nicholas Bentner, of course, we don't know where he's going, but he's not staying at Arsenal. He's been offloaded. Chuck Zaniki, we've talked about before, also on the move. Then there's Chu Young Park, talking to Monaco. Well, not sure where he's going to end up, but the World Cup would be a good window for him to showcase his talents. And who's the other player on the move? I think it's Mr. Boateng on the move as well, who I haven't seen in action that often. Although I say that I've actually seen him playing for the reserves, or was it the under-19s? I forget. But anyway, I saw him. He didn't make a huge impression on me, so I don't think it's going to be a big miss. Although, of course, like a lot of Arsenal players schooled in how to play good football, they go elsewhere and they often prove to be more than decent at whatever level they ply their trade at. Meanwhile, talking of more than decent players, the headline goes in the Daily Mirror, who is Atsudo Uchida? Atsudo Uchida, I'll have to ask my friend Alan Gibson of J Soccer Magazine to give us the full rundown on the man to replace Bakary Sagna, according to Ross Dunbar of the Daily Mirror. With Sagna likely to leave, it looks like the Schalke defender will be coming in to take his place. But could be just speculation once again. The player, obviously impressive enough to be involved at international level for Japan. And, well, anyway, there's been other reports suggesting that we're interested in a German player, Sebastian Jung. But, of course, that's not going to happen because now he's moved to VfL Wolfsburg from Eintracht Frankfurt. So instead, if we are really genuinely shopping in Germany, perhaps the player we are in fact looking at is Atsudo Uchida. And he in fact was with Kashima Antlers, making his debut at the age of 17, and really made a huge impact in Japan in the J-League, winning 3 league championships. He was in the J-League team of the season several times, and well, still better to come from him. Of course, he moved to Schalke in 2010, and he's in fact represented by quite a famous agent. I'm trying to look for his name and I've lost it, but a quite famous agent who's negotiated deals for players to come to this country in the past. One of those players being Shinji Kagawa, who joined, of course, Manchester United eventually. But initially, he moved to Germany first, of course, from Cerezo Osaka. He went to Borussia Dortmund. And, in fact, the man's name I was thinking of was Thomas Kroth. Hope I said his name right. But anyway, he's the agent. And have to ask Alan Gibson about him. See if he thinks there is any possibility that Kroth will do a deal for Uchida to join Arsenal. Well, obviously, given the situation with Rio Miyaichi, that seems to be unlikely to play again for Arsenal, or perhaps unlikely to play anywhere with the injury problems he's had. Perhaps we do need to keep our Japanese fan base interested by signing a top Japanese player, and of course, it seems that Uchida would certainly fit the bill more than Rio has, because despite his early promise and his amazing pace, he's not really delivered, unfortunately. And I'd have to pretty much put it down to injuries. But anyway, once I get some more information on Uchida, I'll let you know. The Daily Mirror are saying that one of the strong points about his style is that he uses the ball well from the back, although he's not particularly quick. He does in fact attack a lot. So it has been suggested that therefore that he would be the kind of signing that we are in fact looking for. So I think there's an awful lot of question marks about any signing, which is why Arsene Wenger has been very reluctant to spend on the transfer market. Another player that's been linked with us, though, in the past, who could be joining us, according to the Sport Review, and I've seen it elsewhere as well, is Jeremy Menez. He's set to leave Paris Saint-Germain as well. There's going to be a lot of comings and goings there. See, financial fair play kicking in, not. But Menez on the way on a free transfer, it seems, a 27-year-old France international, well down the pecking order and also out of contract. That sounds like the kind of deal that we'd do. Bring in a player who's not going to cost anything at all in terms of a transfer fee. So it looks like a definite one that he'll be on the way. His coach at PSG, Laurent Blanc, said Menez will leave. Alex is also out of contract. I don't think we'll be interested in Alex. Good a player as he is. He's a bit sturdy. Sturdy being a euphemism for chunky and some other words. Anyway, another player who could be on the way, but not to us. According to the Metro, Simon Osborne, the journalist in question, another player who won't be joining us, but on the move, Alvaro Morata. It looks like Spurs are going to beat us to it, according to this story. You probably don't want to know the details, but £12 million will make the deal happen. So, looks like Spurs are going to beat us to him. Obviously, that has happened in the past. I'm trying to think of the guy's name, suddenly forgotten. But plays at the back. He's Belgian. Good friend with Thomas Vermaelen. Perhaps we can't mention Vertonghen's name anymore, but there you go. I did it by mistake. Right, I think I'm going to leave it at that. These are the stories that are making the news at the moment. And, of course, if you need any more news updates, you know exactly where to come right here. Until the next time, away!